Well, barely 6 months of the year have passed, and 2025 is already the year of unprecedented air power. The world has spent 3 days and 2 sleepless nights gawking at how Trump's America has rewritten the doctrine of long-range strike with its terrifying silent bombing of Iran's nuclear facilities. Well, barely a month ago, India, remember, set its own new air power benchmark with the Operation Sindoor airstrikes. Both operations vastly different, but both operations audacious, risky, and in their own ways, almost unbelievable. At one level, in terms of scale, there is no comparing these two missions. But a question I've been asked since these two completely milestone airstrikes are separated by just 46 days is this. What are India's observations, takeaways, and lessons from Trump's Midnight Hammer? Well, here's what I think. Takeaway number one, deception is not a tactic, it's an absolute doctrine. The US sent decoy B-2 bombers one way while the real strike aircraft were already in position. The level of misdirection buys survivability and surprise. India has used similar deceptive tactics during the Balakot airstrikes, and this time as well. We must look closer at the doctrine of deception. Takeaway number two, precision isn't just about bombs, it's about preparation. Every target hit was likely scouted by stealth drones and confirmed by intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance platforms. India needs to integrate drone-based reconnaissance with its strike planning even more than it already has done, and it has done brilliantly during Operation Sindoor. Takeaway number three, air power needs airspace and access. What the United States did was silent, cynical cooperation coerced from a country like Pakistan, proving that diplomacy obviously shapes war, despite what your allies might think. India doesn't have the same airspace needs for its offensive operations, but the fact that regional air corridors are force multipliers is beyond question and has been taken note of. Takeaway number four, stealth isn't a luxury. It has not been a luxury for many decades. It's a glaring necessity in today's battlefield, and it was ably demonstrated by the B-2s entering contested skies undetected. Not a single shot was apparently fired at them. While Pakistan will soon be receiving Chinese J-35 stealth fighters, India doesn't yet have stealth jets and are a decade away from our own stealth fighter, the AMCA, becoming a reality. On that front, even though we've got a lot else going on, we are vulnerable unless it changes soon. Takeaway number five, Midair refueling tankers are tactical assets of great necessity. A 36-hour mission by the US B-2 bombers wasn't possible without dozens of Midair refueling tanker aircraft along the way. India must stop treating tankers as an afterthought. We have already had 3 aborted attempts at procuring more tankers and wasted time ignoring this much-needed capability. We've got a few of these aircraft. We desperately need more. Takeaway number 6, the first ever use of the bunker buster GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator in a live operation was a message in itself. The US used this super powerful bomb to go after hardened strikes like Fordo in Iran. India used a much smaller penetration warhead in Balakot, but ended up in a messy claim war over damage done. Every weapon must send a message. India learnt that very well and executed incredibly well during Operation Sindoor. That's why the pictures are so clear. Takeaway number 7, cruise missiles save pilots. The US didn't just send aircraft to support its B-2 bombers, it launched standoff munitions, Tomahawk cruise missiles from hundreds of kilometers away in the Arabian Sea in a submarine. India's use of the BrahMos and Scalp missiles to target Pakistan was unprecedented, and it affirms that our cruise missile inventory must evolve even more in range and precision. And I'm happy to tell you that is precisely what is happening. Takeaway number 8, every strike must speak for itself. The US didn't just mount a strike on Iran, it sent out a global shockwave. India must improve its ability to narrate the strike, control the optics, and shape global perception. That's right, that word which everyone is uncomfortable about, narrative. Takeaway number 9, the Navy is not a spectator. The US submarines and destroyers were deployed not just for backup. One US submarine fired over 40 Tomahawk cruise missiles at the Isfahan nuclear facility in Iran. The Indian Navy didn't directly mount any attacks on Pakistan during Operation Sindoor, but was fully prepared to. It was primed and ready, and that phase of Operation Sindoor would have been possibly the most devastating. So this is not a lesson, this is not a takeaway, this is an affirmation of how India does things. Takeaway number 10, finally, surprise requires strategy. Midnight Hammer wasn't just an airstrike, it was the end game of a months-long build-up. India must institutionalize long lead planning for short window missions. This becomes even more complex with the new rules of engagement where terror attacks are interpreted and treated as acts of war by Pakistan. These are my 10 takeaways, observations, validations, endorsements for India from Operation Midnight Hammer.